The supply side myth debunked in 2 minutes.
Let's see what this person has to say.
Supply side, or trickle-down economics as you may have heard it called, doesn't deliver.
Trickle-down economics isn't exactly a legitimate economic term. It's more of just it's more of just a status rhetoric for economics, like Reagan and his trickle-down economic policies. It's not really an economic phenomenon that actually happens.
Love 'em, hate 'em, tolerate 'em, regardless of personal feelings, taxes make the world go round and the U.S. economy go round.
No, they fucking don't. Taxes make an economy worse, okay? You're literally taking money away from people and feeding it to the government, which spends it on policies that suck ass, that take even more money away from people, like the war on drugs, or actual war, or truancy laws and gun control and all that other bullshit that doesn't really help society. Oh yeah, hospitals and libraries and schools and factories, yay! Well, government's mostly about war with its tax dollars, and remember, government's by the elite for the elite, so, this stuff ain't really what it's about. And, hospitals, libraries, schools, factories, those can all be funded by the free market, so this guy doesn't know what he's talking about right off the bat.
But there's a camp of lawmakers who minimize the importance of government and the role of taxes in effective governance.
Taxes aren't effective governance, unless you mean an effective means by which the government takes your money and lines its own pockets with it. Then it's effective, but as for society, we shouldn't have taxes at all, and people shouldn't be lawmakers at all. Even minarchist positions shouldn't be filled by anyone.
These lawmakers, backed by wealthy special interests, insist that supply-side economics, a la tax cuts, especially for the rich, are the golden ticket to broad prosperity.
Tax cuts aren't what it's about, okay? It's not about making it so, oh, these rich people don't have to pay as much as others. In fact, the rich people pay the most in federal income tax, by the way, and possibly some other taxes. It's about not taxing people at all, so they don't have to pay fucking elites to oppress them even further, and they can just invest their own money into the economy the way they want. That's what it's about. And I think the lawmakers that support more taxes that the corporate elite can have can sustain, but the small businesses can't. I would think that those would be the lawmakers that would be backed by special interest groups rather than these guys that want less taxes, supposedly. Yeah.
This erroneous ideological policy theory is rooted in the unproven assumption that lowering taxes for the rich causes them to work harder and invest more, thereby creating jobs and boosting the economy.
Yeah, that's kind of how it works. When you don't take money from people, they got more money to do shit with. Wow, who would have thought?
Supply-siders even claim that cutting taxes for the rich will allow governments to collect more tax revenue.
And it's more about just getting rid of taxes altogether. So, this isn't exactly a valid way to look at it.
Turns out that giving tax cuts to people who are already wealthy just makes the rich richer, not to mention contributing to growing income inequality.
Oh, okay. Let me bring this. Let me say this right here, right now. Income inequality does not matter. Okay. Some people have more money than you. So what? As long as everybody gets what they earned and nobody is taken from, then it's perfectly fucking fine. Okay. It's perfectly fucking fine for other people to make more money than you. In fact, it's perfectly fucking fine for you to make more money than other people. That's all that matters. The rich get richer. Well, if you didn't tax them, of course they'd be richer. You wouldn't be taxing them, no shit. But everyone else could always be richer because No taxes means more money in your pocket to do what you want to do if, since it's your money.
Take, for example, President George W. Bush's tax cuts.
Oy Bush. Yeah, that guy was an asshole. I doubt this statist policies talking about is as free market as he's really saying.
38% of those cuts went to the top 1% of Americans. But the
Okay.
wealth didn't trickle down. Low
Well, yeah, because trickle-down economics isn't a real phenomenon. It's not a legitimate economic term. It's more of just a status sell for, government economic policy.
job growth, increased poverty, and a growing income gap persisted throughout most of Bush's tenure.
Wow. Maybe if the state would just not be the state anymore, you wouldn't have this shit.
Nonetheless, the economically disruptive supply-side myth is spreading. Just within the last year, states as varied as Arizona, North Carolina, Ohio, Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, and Oklahoma have considered their past tax cuts for the wealthy under the guise of promoting economic growth.
Once again, it's not about tax cutting the wealthy. It's about just cutting taxes altogether, just getting rid of taxes altogether to help everyone overall, not just the wealthy. I mean, okay, yeah, some people want to cut taxes here and there for those here and there, but overall, what's really going to help the economy is just getting rid of taxes altogether.
State lawmakers are still considering these tax cuts for the rich in spite of the recent and notorious failure of supply-side tax cuts in Kansas. In 2012,
Supply side doesn't really happen, so
Kansas
yeah.
Governor Sam Brownback championed what he called a real live experiment. 2 times he cut taxes for the rich. Now tax collections have fallen short, forcing critical cuts in spending on education and other services, and the state's economy lags behind the national average.
Okay, well, why don't you have the free market then fund stuff? The way it should have been since the beginning of time. In fact, that's the way it was until the last 6,000 years. Government butted his ugly ass head in and decided to take over people's lives.
Supply-side adherents and their political allies have either forgotten or simply don't care about the reason we all pay taxes, to fund services that matter hugely to the economy and to all of us.
Oh my god. Taxes don't really help people, okay? This shit should be free market. All these SKUs and libraries and hospitals you statists bitch so much about, that can be funded free market, okay? It doesn't have to be taxes or government or state. It doesn't have to be any of that shit. I mean, my god, it's appeal. I mean, excuse me if I'm getting a bit salty, but I'll just appeal to emotion with the SKUs and roads and hospitals and libraries gets to be rather bleh after a while. Oh, it's time to be real. Yeah, sure.
It's time to be real. Trickle-down economic policies don't work.
Because they're not. Trickle-down economics isn't actually real. I mean, yeah, economic policies done by the government that suck ass, yeah, they're real. But in terms of a legitimate economic term to describe economic phenomenon, trickle-down economics isn't real.
Taxes aren't a bad thing.
Yes, they are. They fund war, they fund the war on drugs, truancy laws, gun control, police brutality, eminent domains, civil asset forfeiture, NSA, DA, all this nasty shit. Taxes fund. So yes, they are bad. They are a problem. They make people poor even. They're not good. They're theft. Get rid of them.
Nation's lawmakers should stop pursuing failed supply-side trickle-down experiments. Instead, they should pursue sensible tax policies that
No such thing. Taxation's theft.
recognize the economically vital
Do
role
the right thing. Am I right? Yeah. No, you're not.
that taxes have in funding the services on which we all rely.
Or we can use the free market on which we all really rely on to fund the services we all rely on. How about that, status?
For more information, visit www.itep.org.
I wouldn't recommend it.